guys, and welcome to our first lesson. In our first lesson, I want to talk a little bit about the importance of raw files. So grab yourself a cup of coffee or a cup of tea and let's just jump in it. So I want to divide this lesson into three short parts. What is actually a raw file? What are the benefits of shooting raw? And later down, I'm gonna explain you what's the difference between raw and JPEG. What is actually a raw file? Well, a raw file is just an uncompressed image file captured by the sensor of your camera. And it's directly saved on your SD card and ready to use on a special software. You will find out that you will not be able to open raw images directly on your phone or directly on a PC without a professional software like Photoshop or Lightroom or many others that are out there. When you're shooting in JPEG, the camera records a raw file and then exports it as a JPEG, getting rid of all of the dynamic range and all of the color information, and shrinks that file and saves it as a JPEG. Okay, and now you might ask, okay, but what are the benefits of this bigger file size named RAW? Well, the main benefit is that you are able to modify later down the road things like white balance, tint, exposure, getting rid of noise that might be captured by your camera in low light situations. Let's say you forget to set up the correct white balance. Well, you are able to do that after you shot the picture. Or what if you switch the model from a shadow area into a much brighter area and the colors are a little bit overexposed? Well, you are able to modify that in Photoshop and save that picture. Also, you are able to bring more details using the sharpening functions of the camera raw, and also check the color accuracy using the color wheels in the camera raw. Okay. Now, on the last thing, what's the main difference between a RAW and a JPEG? So for this, let's jump into Photoshop and let me explain you what's the main difference. So I already opened up Photoshop here, and here on my PC I have two files. Okay, so I have a JPEG file and a CR2 file. This CR2 file is an actual RAW. You will not find named RAW. If you are shooting on an icon, you'll find the NEF files, and if you are exporting from a Lightroom or the Photoshop a raw image, you'll find it as a DNG. All of them are just raw files. You have nothing to worry about, just opening up like a normal picture. Okay, I'm gonna right click on this picture, I'm gonna open it up with Photoshop, and I especially choose this picture because I've underexposed it a little bit. But even if I use flash, this beautiful model is wearing a black dress. So black absorbs a lot of light. Even if we use flash, this dark dress absorbs a lot of light, and we just lost some details here. So what, as an editor, I'm normally gonna do, I'm just gonna go into the levels and bring up a little bit of shadows, but as you expect from an image that's a JPEG, look at this. This image is very pixelated. Okay, let's deactivate this layer. Let's go maybe into the curves. Maybe maybe the things are a little bit better here. Well, actually, no. The blacks are still pixelated, the information is completely gone. Okay. But now let's open up our raw file. Let's go back into our folder. And as soon as you open a raw file, you will see that it doesn't open like a normal image. It doesn't open in Photoshop. It actually opens up in Camera Raw. It's just a Photoshop plugin designed specifically for the raw files. And in this plugin, you are able to edit a lot of things. Let me show you the main difference between a raw and a JPEG and the details that we can bring out of a raw file. We have the same image, we have the same lost details in the black dress. But here I have an options named shadows. And if I bring up these shadows, look into these darks. Look at the whole image. It's a different completely story. Also here we have a lot of details that are perfectly conserved, and this is a perfect image that now we can definitely use in our edits. The fact that I mentioned also the noise reduction option, let me show it to you. Here into the details we have the noise reduction, and we can bring this up a little bit around 26. Yeah, I'm gonna park it around 26. And look at this black. So usually the noise in an image is on black surfaces, so that's why I apply the noise reduction filter on this image. Also keeping the image details. So look at this. This is a different completely story, my friends. I'm gonna open it up and then I'm gonna also show it to you. Look at this difference. The JPEG one, pixelated, unusable, using RAW, completely fine, completely restored. We just bring up those shadows. So this is the main difference between a JPEG and RAW. Now that you know the difference, let's actually open an image and start editing, shall we?